Good day, everyone. In behalf of our group, I am John Supa, and we're here to discuss basketball. I'll be discussing the history of the game, but before that, let's define it first for a quick overview. Basketball is a sport played by two opposing teams that consist 5 players each. The goal is to shoot the ball through the basket. There are certain rules, equipment, and skills for the game, which will be discussed later. Let's start with the history of it first. So, who invented basketball? The person who invented basketball was Dr. James Naismith. Dr. James Naismith was a Canadian-American physician, physical educator, sports coach, chaplain, and innovator. He was born in Ramsay Township, Ontario, Canada in the year 1861. When was basketball invented? Basketball was invented in 1891. Dr. James Naismith was a physical education teacher at the YMCA International Training School in December 1891, and that's when he became an innovator for creating the game. During that time, he encountered a problem, which was to find an indoor game in 14 days to provide athletic distraction for the students. This problem occurred because students at that time can participate in outdoor sports such as football and lacrosse for their physical activity because of the weather caused by winter. They were offered other physical activities such as calisthenics, marching, and apparatus work, but they found them boring compared to outdoor sports. That's why Dr. James Naismith needed to think of an interesting indoor game and created basketball. The very first game was played on December 21, 1891. Where was basketball invented? The game originated at Springfield College. That is the name of YMCA International Training School today. Now let's proceed to how basketball was before. Before, two pitch baskets with no hole at the bottom were used as the hoops. A soccer ball was used as the ball. The size of the court was only half of a basketball court we have today. There were no backboards at that time, and the baskets weren't nailed as high as the baskets of today. Since the baskets didn't have holes at the bottom, every time the ball is shot to the basket, it needed to be removed manually as it can't pass through the basket. Few years later, the bottom of the baskets were cut into holes so the basketball could pass through after a score. Also, since soccer ball was used at that time, dribbling wasn't really part of the game. Later, the soccer ball was replaced by a Spalding ball. Lastly, there were no backboards at the time because baskets were nailed to the balcony of the gym. In 1893, the backboard was created due to spectators interfering with the basketball. After introducing the game, Dr. James Naismith then implemented the first 13 rules of the game that explained how to move the ball and what would be counted as a foul. The first two teams were formed and a referee was appointed. There were 18 players at the time, 9 players each team. Dr. James Naismith then did the honor to start the very first game by tossing the ball in the middle of the playground, and the first basketball game was played. Here are the 13 original rules of basketball. After introducing the game, basketball immediately became popular and was played by a lot of people in no time. So that's it. Again, for a quick review, the person who invented basketball was Dr. James Naismith. The game was invented on December 1891. It was invented at YMCA International Training School, or known today as Springfield College. And the game was very different compared to now because of different resources and different ideas. I hope you learned the important things about the history of the game. Thank you for listening and God bless.